Hello, your call is booked, so you're all set, and I'm looking forward to it. What I want to do here is talk with you about a few important things that will make our call easier. This way, during the call, we can focus on who you are and what you want to have happen. What I'm going to do is lay the groundwork for the call by telling you about my background and how I got into inclusive leadership coaching. I'll also tell you what my clients say about me so you can assess if we're a good fit. First, I want to emphasize that your call is confirmed. You'll get text and email reminders. It's crucial that you show up for the call. This call is an investment in your future. It's hard to reach your goals without dedicating time for yourself. So please attend the call so we can dig into what's really important to you, your pain points, and what you would like to see happen. I definitely want to know your North Star. After the call, you'll get either a PDF or an audio of my book, Reframing Change. It's been in print for over 15 years. It outlines my framework with user friendly examples, making it both research based and practical. Why do I emphasize both research based and practical? Because it's easier to do the most effective thing if you understand what works and doesn't work. I've been an observer of human behavior all my life across various settings and groups, testing what works and doesn't work in human interactions. It all boils down to this: we all want to feel valued, have great relationships, and be able to influence others. We also want to be true to ourselves and to our values. This is particularly true for us as Black women. A lot of us ask, can we be ourselves and still be respected by others and still respect our own selves? I've studied how to be effective while being true to myself my entire life, written 2 books, published papers, and suffered through the agonies of sometimes getting it wrong. As a social work academic, I turned my personal challenges into research opportunities and then into learning opportunities. You and I haven't met yet. I don't know what you want to know. So a discovery call with me will probably be one of the best 45-minute investments you can make at this particular point in your life. At least I hope so. I'm committed for that to happen. And in the end, if you think it's a good fit, then we can talk about how much my conscious change framework can be customized to fit your goals. Let me take you back to my childhood so you can better understand how I came to do this work and why I do it. I grew up as a Negro child, that's what we called ourselves then, in the segregated South. I remember drinking from the colored water fountains, riding in the back of the bus, going to segregated movie theaters. We walked outside in the rain, sometimes, up the rickety stairs to the second floor of the Maceo Theater. Here is a picture that reminds me so much of what the Maceo Theater outside used to look like. That's exactly what the stairs were like. Up in the balcony seats, we looked down at the white people on the first floor. My friends and I would joke about throwing popcorn over the edge, but fear held us back. Fantasizing about that small act of throwing popcorn on the floor below is my earliest memory of wanting to take a stand against social justice. As I entered junior high, I began to understand the injustice around me. Our dedicated teachers worked tirelessly to instill in us a responsibility to uplift not just ourselves, but our entire community. They made it clear we had a duty to fight for equality. Now, my life was full of contradictions. We were told we were inferior by the white society, yet my parents owned our own home, and I saw white people in an adjacent neighborhood living in apartments. They were poor. At school, I saw my friends wear the same jacket every day during the winter, and they were treated differently than me, who had several jackets. I didn't have the words for it then, but I felt the injustice deep in my heart. In my community, we presented a picture of a perfect family, a successful father, a beautiful mother, 3 girls, a brother. But behind closed doors, our reality was different. We struggled with alcoholism, and the atmosphere could shift in an instant. Every day when my sisters and I came home from school, we would take a deep breath before opening the door, not knowing whether we would find peace or chaos. I often admired my friends' homes filled with warmth and safety, while they looked with envy at the material comforts my family had. But beneath the surface, I recognized that we were all just navigating our different challenges. To escape, I immersed myself in books. My favorites were stories of courage and compassion, featuring characters standing up for others or animals rescuing their owners from danger and peril. One day, I read about a girl in a wheelchair who couldn't play with her friends. So I crudely drew a sliding board with pulleys so that children who could not use their legs could pull themselves up to the top of the sliding board and then slide down. By then, I was already driven to help people overcome their obstacles and fulfill their potential. At age 13, I went to Oakwood, a Quaker prep school. It was an oasis of racial harmony, showing me how people of different races could get along. On my first day there, a white girl invited me to go play basketball. We went, and in the auditorium, we sat down after a round, a white boy leaned over and tied my shoe. A white boy tied my shoe. I was stunned. That was unthinkable. The white boys at home would have pretended that I didn't even exist. This experience shaped my model for how different cultural groups could live together. Students joined together based on common interests, including race. For example, on Sundays, we as Black students would get together to listen to rhythm and blues. No one thought it strange or exclusionary. Different groups would form around different interests. The people who liked theater might meet together. Sports people met together, but invariably would all come together at some point as a common community. Now, when I work in organizations, this is my model. Different groups, cultural groups, or interest groups can have their own shared space and still work with others, then later sharing the larger community. My first job was as a worker in the New York City Public Welfare Department. On paper, our job was to help clients become self-sufficient. In reality, we were expected to be stingy with funds and check for unreported income, even looking in closets for men's shoes, which of course I never did. When the welfare rights movement started, I joined. By day, I was a welfare rights worker. By day, I was a welfare worker, and by night, I went to the meetings. By day, I was a welfare worker. By night, I attended client meetings and learned about the system from the client's perspective. I left that job to join a neighborhood center, officially becoming part of the welfare rights movement as an organizer. In other words, I was an activist. We held sit-ins and protests. I did door-to-door organizing, encouraging people to join at our focus was on social justice and helping people to lead their own cause. During protests, I never spoke to the press. Instead, I cultivated leaders among the residents to speak up. This is where I learned to recognize hidden talent, earn trust, and develop leadership skills. Imagine helping a person on public assistance find the. It was incredibly rewarding to see people find their voice and become recognized as leaders. After I got my master's in social work, I became a program evaluator. Traveling the country, I saw how stressed nonprofit workers were. The oppression I had felt in the welfare department, I now saw in some nonprofits where employees faced inadequate resources, verbal abuse, and burnout just for doing their jobs. I decided to go for my doctorate. That's when I discovered the field of organization development and learned how systems work to maintain oppression and how people at all levels feel their autonomy and self-esteem threatened. I had always thought oppression only affected poor people at the bottom. I was so wrong. It happens up and down the hierarchy. People at higher levels are scared someone below might take their job. Those at the lower levels, and particularly people of color, fear they won't get promoted because of implicit bias or political reasons, not their performance. After I finished my doctorate, I entered academia as a social work professor. Over time, I started doing evaluation research, then organization development, and eventually leadership coaching. I've published multiple papers in peer-reviewed journals and book chapters. I've published multiple papers in peer-reviewed journals and book chapters. I've also written 2 books. The first, published in 2009, is called Reframing Change, and the second is Conscious Change. It was recently published. I think of Reframing Change as the book describing the framework I use in my work. Conscious Change is the proof that it works. In Conscious Change, 19 book chapters written mostly by former students and clients show how they applied the framework to their lives and the positive results they achieved. These authors came from every industry and at all levels in organizations, from independent contributors to C-suite executives. Here are the authors. I smile every time I look at this picture. Why do people choose to work with me? Here are 3 things I hear over and over. One client put it this way. He said, my greatest gift was helping him understand human nature, why people do what they do. Others have expressed the same idea in different words. Clients also appreciate that I have no judgment about what they do or don't do, say or don't say. When I taught graduate students in social work, I was honored when students would share with me aspects of their former lives that they were ashamed of. I heard from people who had been prostitutes, drug addicts, sexually abused, prisoners living in their cars. Coming from my family background, I learned early that it's possible to be a good person and still do or experience harm and shame. That doesn't make someone a bad person. It makes them human. The third thing that clients say about me that they value is that I have a framework with specific skills attached. I can help them understand how to choose their actions and be effective in the process. Okay, so that's where I come from. Make sure you show up for your call. It's going to be really helpful. I'm committed to that. We're going to give you some really good bonuses. And then if it's the right fit, hopefully we can work together and I can really help you get where you want to go. As a Black woman, I have experienced many of the problems you're probably experiencing and learned how to overcome them. My clients have done the same in their lives, and they have been changed. What we do really does work. I mentioned the 19 authors in Conscious Change who describe why the framework works for them. Below are videos from them describing how our framework made a difference in their lives, giving them greater confidence and the ability to accomplish their goals. There are other quotes from people from different places, including one from Brené Brown, who you have probably heard of. Just to be real, this isn't a one and done deal. If you decide to invest in yourself and your future, you can reap the benefits those 19 authors and other clients and colleagues want you to know about. Thank you.